Okay, let's call up Kenji Osawa, and by doing this, jump to him. This should clear. Yes, it is actually clearing Osawa's keypad, thankfully. He's still wearing a weird pair of glittery trousers. Osawa's phone rang and Minurikawa's phone number popped up on the LCD display. The reporter must have finished looking into the matter Osawa had been asked about. Mr. Osawa? Oh, of course it's Minurikawa, not the other way around. Mr. Osawa, sorry to keep you waiting. How did it go? Well, I looked into the background of that story you asked about, and I learned who it was your wife was dating. I almost said banging, but yeah, let's leave that out. Who was it? Osawa asked immediately. There was a brief pause. Mamoru Tanaka. I see. Finally, he had proof positive of a relationship between I and Tanaka. Now, more than ever, it was no time to waver. No matter how painful the reality was, it was also true that if they hadn't been dating, there would probably be no way of saving Maria. So, Minurikawa said, what was this big thing about disrupting the power balance of the world all about? There's something I need to take care of on my end first. Once I'm finished, I'll tell you everything. Yeah, that's fine. Things are pretty hectic on my end right now anyway. Osawa had expected Minurikawa to put up more of a fight. He'd figured a reporter for 4-star General Gossip would be a bit more persistent. He's not really working for them, he's just doing it out of necessity. Oh, by the way, there was one other thing I wanted to tell you, Mr. Osawa. Osawa could practically sense the finger pointing his way from the other end of the line. Don't be too angry with your wife. All too often in this world, people let their anger get in the way of solving the problems. You may have a point. Osawa let out a wry chuckle. Alright then, I'll call you back later. Damn, Osawa isn't even angry yet. I don't know about their relationship, but mustn't have been too hard, I guess. Osawa found Ai standing by herself in the yard. She kept her back to him as he approached. May I have a moment? He asked quietly. What? Still, she didn't bother to turn around. That's a lovely rose bush, though. It's really beautiful. I like the color. There's something important I need to talk to you about. I'm not in the mood right now. Bitch. Please, I realize you're upset about Tanaka's death, but at the mention of Tanaka's name, I slowly shook her head. Don't. Just tell me what you want. Hurry up and get to the point. Osawa tried to move closer to her, but she pointedly kept her distance. Damn, son. This was no time to mince words. Did Tanaka give you his password? That was something Osawa needed to hear for himself before this went any further. Were you in love with Tanaka? We should probably go straight to the point, but she's a woman. She actually doesn't want to go straight to the point. She wants to talk about her love first. I'm pretty sure. So let's do this. I know my women, by the way. There was something Osawa needed to hear for himself. Blah, blah, blah. Were you in love with Tanaka? Have you cucked me all along? What are you talking about? Osawa frowned. Why did you marry me? He asked. You've got to be kidding. This is the important discussion you wanted to have? Did you ever love me? I let out a joyless chuckle. Love? I'm amazed to even hear the word leave your lips. She's kind of right about that, Osawa. I'm sure you didn't love her as well, so yeah. There was a note of challenge in her voice. Let me ask you the same question. Did you ever love me? To be honest, I married you because I thought my daughters needed a mother. Pardon me, I think there's a fucking fly in my room. It just scared me. Wow, I let out a weary sigh, some of the combative tension in left her shoulders. That really is honest, she said. God, she's so it's harsh of me to say, but she's really ugly compared to her stepdaughters, I guess. So, she doesn't have any relation to them, but still. I mean, she's probably still a good-looking woman, overall, but damn, just compared to Maria or Hitomi or even Kanan, oh my god. So I guess I should be honest too. I married you because my father asked me to. He wanted to chain you down so he didn't leave for some other company. And you were okay with marrying someone for something like that? I guess there was also something in it for Tanaka, in the end, because he was the assistant to him. For something like that? You really have no idea how much you're worth, do you? The value of one woman's life versus the potential profits your research would bring in. Damn, son. I hope she's not really thinking that, because she's worth way more than that. There's no comparing the two. If it meant that Okoshi Pharmaceutical could monopolize your talents, then what did it even matter what I wanted for myself? You're your own fucking person, you know? There was something akin to desperation in Ai's words. Yeah, she's not believing it herself. And so you sent me those threatening emails too? What? I looked at him in shock. He knew he'd guessed correctly. Oh, really? You would go that far, just to keep me tied to your father's business? Really? Was it her? She is A? I thought it would be Alphard. But maybe she is Alphard after all. That's right. I would. I bit down on her lip hard. Okay, that's a really shitty revelation. Her sending the emails. God damn it. I mean, yes, we knew that they were coming from inside the house, but I was guessing that Alfred was some kind of super hacker or something, I don't know. But what would you even know about how I feel? I'm sorry. Don't apologize. I shook her head vehemently. I'm not the victim here. You say that, but isn't it because of me that you and Tanaka weren't able to stay together? She looks pretty cute in that shot. I began to tremble. Her secret was out. When did you figure it out? She asked. Earlier today. That Thai clip. You didn't really figure it out. You let... Oh, whoops, sorry. You let Mina recover to it, and Kajiwara helped you figuring it out, so... God damn it, Osawa, you might be really fucking dense. Huh, right. Not the sort of gift one gives to one's husband's co-worker, is it? Even if it was a listening device. Yes, and now we need to know why she's listening in on him, so she had her doubts about him as well, I guess. Ai's smile was bitter with self-deprecation. Osawa couldn't help but pity her. Even Tanaka must have suspected that she placed the company's profit above all else, if she'd go to such lengths to protect its interest. It was like she'd given up her entire life just for that. Her father has to be some kind of asshole, I guess. Don't be such an asshole, Osawa, or you're the same. Well, she said, aren't you angry? Osawa just shook his head. Could you tell me just one thing, though? He asked. Did Tanaka ever tell you what his lab password was? His password? I needed to get the antiviral out of the lab. I flinched at the suggestion. To get it out? What are you thinking? That belongs to the company. I just need one dose to save Maria. Please, if you know, please tell me. I don't know it. Ai's voice was barely a whisper. Osawa looked his wife right in the eye. You're telling the truth. I am. Of course she is. It would be something different if you were saying, you're fucking lying to me, but why? Whatever. I see. Then, do you have any idea what number he might have used for a password? I shook her head silently, then turned her back to her husband once more. Tanaka hadn't given Ai his password. Why would he? Osawa's last chance had gone up in smoke. I mean, they weren't even fucking married. I'm sure as hell not giving anyone my passwords, no matter how often I shag them or something. He let out a long, shaky breath and shut his eyes tight. Was it true? Was there nothing more he could do? Now imagine he would have just asked, hey, do you know Tanaka's password, by the way? It's a keeper. So quickly. Damn. Okay. Who else had a keeper? I think it was Che and Kano. Both of them. So let's see. Where can we jump here? The young man is still locked. So we need to jump to Kano first. Or, yeah, I guess. So who has another jump for me? Oh, I just did that. Fuck. Wait, did Osawa have a jump for me? No? guessing the keep out is real and what I want to do. This jump was Kenji Osawa. I just did that. The young man is still grayed out, but let's just try to take a look for now. Just to see Kanan's face in blurry vision once more. The young man, which we still can't jump to for some reason, which also means that we have to go out. And it also means that you need to give me a quick minute just to gather my thoughts and see where the fuck I can continue with this. So see you in a bit. I'll leave you with this beautiful shot of Kanan. Fucking hell. Jesus. Okay, that was some workaround. I'll show you what I did just now to clear Achi. So basically we had this decision with Minorikawa as to who to choose for the common name. And instead of going with Tanaka, you had to choose Endo, which opens up a jump for Endo, of course, and thus helps you continue with Achi over here after they get in, I guess. So the workroom door slowly eased open. Let's see if this helps. It is. It is Maria. And she was too shocked for words. She looked just like her sister. I mean, a little bit cuter and more beautiful, and also not quite as bitchy as her, but still. Actually, she's all in all a straight up improvement. The girl who entered looked just like Hitomi. Maria! Hitomi! What the fuck is going on here? Achi blinked in bewilderment. It was almost as if Hitomi was standing in front of a mirror. The two girls looked so similar. Maria, thank goodness you're alright. I'm so sorry I had you worried. Aw, what a beautiful reunion. Maria was safe, Achi realized. At last he had managed to fulfill his duty. And now? How did you manage to get out of the storeroom? Daisuke had gone pale. Tell me, Maria said sharply, who was it who came up with this kidnapping plan? Oh! Jeez, that was fucking quick. Suddenly Daisuke shoved Maria aside and lunged for Hitomi. So she actually managed to make an opening for him. Stanley moved to stop him, but before he could intervene, the older man had a hold on Hitomi, pressing something that looked like a flashlight up against her neck. So Stanley is a failure of an agent, isn't he? He's supposed to be a CIA agent, and a dude running an electronics shop moves faster than he can react. I wouldn't trust the president's life with someone like him, that's for sure. Dad! And she started towards him, but Stanley held up a hand. Don't move, that's a stun gun. A piece of self-defense equipment. Okay. If he stabs her in the neck, it could kill her. Really? With a stun gun? Is it that powerful? You know your stuff, Daisuke said. You deal in American electronics? No, I do this for a living. Bam! What a badass. Stanley drew his gun in an instant, taking aim at Daisuke's forehead. Wait, hold on. Achi interposed himself between Stanley and his father. Achi was too shocked to even move. I guess let's try to get Achi killed one more time. For old time's sake. Interposed himself between Stanley and his father. Okay, let's see what happens. Dad, let Hitomi go. You need to stop this nonsense. Achi walked slowly towards his father, a pleading look in his eyes. Nonsense? Which one of us is talking nonsense here? You don't know what's going on. If you knew everything, then you'd be helping me. What do you mean, everything? With this girl's heart, we can save Suzune. Dad, who was it exactly that told you that? Daisuke did not reply. Oh, it must have been Alfred, one of his envoys, right? I asked you a question. Who was it that put this crazy idea into your head? A foreign organ trafficker I met at the hospital, Daisuke muttered. In Japan, a medical professional known as a transplant coordinator handles the liaison between the donor and recipient parties, but there are many cases of illegal or borderline illegal activity carried out by third-party organ brokers. There are countries where organ transplants are openly performed for monetary gain, and no shortage of specialists willing to do the job. These questionable markets include suppliers who source viable organs and tissue for transplant from cadavers. Well, lovely, isn't it? Stanley let out a snort. I like this story. It's true. I was suspicious at first myself, Daisuke said stubbornly. But I couldn't just sit around and wait for Suzune to die. And after talking to him about her rare blood type and all the difficulties in performing a transplant, he promised he'd do everything in his power. Daisuke's hands were trembling. Tears welled up in his vacant and bloodshot eyes. Then a while later, he got back in touch and told me he'd found a potential match. Someone with the same blood type as Suzune and roughly the same age. But then he told me that the girl was still alive. And so what was the point? Her heart might be a match for Suzune's, but it didn't matter if we couldn't get our hands on it. Just rip it out. Rip and tear. And I said that, but then the man told me, just fucking kill her, lol. He told you what? Oh, who is this asking now? Is it Stanley or Achi? He told you what? Achi bit his lip. Okay. He told me to abduct her and turn her over to him. After that, he'd find a way to make it all work. Wait, so he kidnapped her? What? At last, Daisuke had confessed. Now Achi had to try to come to grips with the truth he had just heard. Or does he mean abduct her as in trying to abduct her with detective guy, Tateno? I had to do something, his father continued vehemently. I had to abduct this girl and see things through. I just couldn't take it. Kotone had already been taken from me. The thought of losing Suzune too. I had to make sure I didn't fail. So it was this organ trafficker who came up with the kidnapping scheme then, Stanley said. He kept his gun aimed at his target. Good job, Stanley. Daisuke nodded. Describe him for me. He was tall, had black hair, spoke fluent Japanese. Stanley raised an eyebrow at that. Achi wondered if he had some idea who it might be. Tall, black hair, spoke fluent Japanese. Is it Kano? What? Then again, I guess black hair isn't that descriptive of Japanese people. Most of them have black hair, right? And taking Maria Osawa hostage in order to lure her to me. That was his idea as well. Yes, that's right. I allowed his computer to access my surveillance camera system as well. But then, this morning, I got a call from the hospital saying Suzune's condition was critical. I couldn't wait any longer. I had to help my girl right away. So he worked against Alfred's plans. Still helping him in a way though. And then Daisuke cut himself off, reaffirming his grip on his stun gun. I was looking at the surveillance monitor and I saw a detective I happened to know. He was right next to this girl here. And so I decided to ask him. I knew if I did, he wouldn't refuse. He could never refuse a request from me. Oh, you're such an asshole. Dragging Tateno into this. And that was the man with the cane? Achi asked. His voice was low and hoarse. As always with Achi. Yes, I was giving him directions while I followed you in the monitors. So you did also watch while he killed Achi several times, you know? He beat him, he shot him. I don't know what else he fucking did, but he did kill him. Quite a few times, I believe. And you were just watching? Dad, what the fuck? Dad, you need to let go of Hitomi now. And there's no point to this. Achi took another step closer to his father. There is a point. If I kill this girl here now, your sister can get the surgery she needs. Nope, not if you kill her with a stun gun to the neck, I believe. But even Achi knew that things couldn't possibly work out that way. His father had grown so desperate to help Suzune that he'd lost all sense of judgment. Why, Achi? Why won't you help me? Don't you want to save Suzune? Daisuke made a pathetic sight. And yet his desperation to save his child was so palpable, it was heartrending. Achi thought back to that time he'd laid his father out when sparring. No matter how pathetic he may have looked, Achi had always felt that sense of paternal love from him. You're not going to be able to talk him down, Stanley murmured. Achi shook his head. Stanley, he said, lower your gun. Tears were welling up in his eyes. And Kano and Kanan are just watching, I guess? Please, lower your gun. Hearing the determination in Achi's voice, Stanley quietly complied. Achi stepped up to Daisuke, getting a firm grip on his father's slender shoulder.
Dad, of course I want to help Suzune.
And why are you trying to stop me?
Dad, do you think this is what she'd want you to do?
Oh, she's a kind girl. She wouldn't want this. Daisuke's face fell.
Did Suzune ask for this, Dad? Did she tell you to take someone else's heart so that she could live longer? Did she, Dad? Did she fucking ask you to do it?
Just hammer it in. Suddenly the fight seemed to ebb from Daisuke's body. The stun gun hung limply in his hand. Take it away from him before something happens, please, for God's sake.
If Suzune asked me to go and get someone's heart for her, I wouldn't object. I'd help her, just like she wanted. I wouldn't let you bear these crimes by yourself. That's not what this is it? Suzune would never ask us to do something like this, would she?
Oh, he's crying. By now tears were streaming down Achi's cheeks. He knew that his father thought about Suzune more than he thought of anyone else. And so he should know full well that she would never want this.
Suzune's not like me. She's smart, she's kind, and she'd never be happy about taking someone else's heart. Even if it saved her life, I'm sure she'd never accept that. She wouldn't be able to live with it, knowing something so horrible had happened to someone else for her sake. Isn't that the Suzune we know, and love, and care about, and want to protect?
Daisuke's cheeks were smeared with tears now as well. But then we're not going to be able to help her. You are, someone else will die, believe me. Things will always work out somehow. The sound of father and son weeping echoed through the workroom, and then Kanan barged in and just roundhouse kicked them all at once.
Maybe so, maybe we won't. But that's better than the misery and suffering she'd have to live with.
True. Imagine going on living because your father killed a person. And not out of self-defense or something, but rather out of selfishness. Daisuke slumped to his knees on the floor, collapsing like a crumbling mound of sand. Hitomi freed from his grip, stood motionless. Achi, you never told me your father is batshit crazy. There were tears in her eyes too. Oh, what an emotional scene. Here I am, making jokes about it. Damn, look at the amount of screens to the right. It looks slick.
You're such an idiot, Dad. Such a complete, utter idiot.
Sobbing, Achi embraced his father. Give him a quick one to the neck to knock him out. He's still a danger to all of us. There was a sudden thud from near the door. Everyone turned to look. Oh, Maria had crumpled to the of course, Maria had crumpled to the floor. And a newcomer had appeared. Kanan! Hello! At some point, Kanan had silently entered the room. Now she cradled Maria in her arms. Standing in the doorway was a man Achi didn't recognize, his face pale. It's Kano. Stay back! Kanan shouted at Achi when he tried to approach. It looked like Maria had fallen unconscious. Oh, she got a super flu. Achi's heart was racing in his chest. An eerie silence fell over the room. For several seconds, no one said a word, their eyes all fixed on Maria. Okay, now what? Is she gonna kiss her? That would be hot. Finally, Kanan looked up, her face ashen. So? It's starting. It's happening! It's fucking happening! TBC. Thank God. Okay. Gonna jump to Kano now.